Hello, and welcome to part two of your mind on stress. In the first video, I discussed how our body responds differently to stress. Some of us, when we become dysregulated, can become agitated, even panicked. On the other side of the spectrum, we may become dampened down and disassociate. This is how our body protects itself when it's feeling stressed. As children, we aren't always taught how to handle that. And maybe we cry, but then we're told not to cry. But we really aren't giving the tools on what to do. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about the behaviors and what we can do. And so I made a new chart, and this is a chart that shows our mind when we're stressed. And so this is the mind, and this is our brain stem, and this right here is the base stem, and we have the midbrain, and we move all the way up into the cortex. And when we are regulated, when we're not stressed, when we're feeling good, we're using this part of the brain, right? We're able to think clearly, we're able to respond appropriately. But as stress or threat comes into our life, into our environment, we start to move down to the lower thinking, and I don't want to call it lower thinking, the more primitive parts of the brain, all the way down to the brain stem. And so I'm not sure how clear this is for you, but when we're calm, we have abstract thinking. But when we become a little anxious, we might move into concrete thinking. When we're feeling threatened, we respond more emotional. And when we're in terror, we're very reactive and reflective. And so if you're thinking about the stress of the coronavirus, you might be acting a little bit more in this area here, a little bit more with our emotions. And I shared how some people were collecting toilet paper, like stocking up on things. That was giving them the feeling of security. Others might want to not wear the mask, go out, pretend like there's nothing happening, and not pretend, but act as if there's nothing happening. And that's their protective way of disassociating from this stress. What's important when we learn this is that when we're under stress, we're not thinking at our highest level. And so I shared in my first video that, I learned these concepts when I was working with children, because when a child is distressed, when they got hurt, when their blocks were knocked down, when they got their fingers smashed in the door, they were in this area here. And this is when the parent or the teacher comes in and we try to reason with them. I told you not to keep your hand in the door. I told you what would happen if you didn't put your blocks away. But that child isn't able to reason at this time. They are too much in stress. And so they're at this area back down here when they're more reactive. So we want to be in this calm area when we're making important choices. But sometimes life puts us in this area. So a great tool for us to use is when we're in our most optimal position, we can create strategies that help us. And so when I'm feeling good, when I'm feeling regulated, I can make a list of tools that will help me feel better. So I know if I'm going to be outside in the sun, I'll feel better. If I eat a healthy meal, it's going to help my body. If I drink water, it's going to help me alleviate a headache. And so I can write these simple steps down, and I can have that list available. Maybe on my list, I have call a good friend, go out and smell a flower, take a walk, eat something healthy, drink some water. Did I say that twice? I think we need to list that at least twice. Practice meditation, practice some yoga. And I write that list down. So then when I become dysregulated, when I start moving down my brain stem where I'm not thinking in my most abstract ability, when I'm more concrete or even more responsive, I can pull that list out and I can pick something on the list and I can use it. Now, at that time, I may be thinking, this isn't going to work. I don't want to do that. I want, I want to wallow in my sorrow, or I just want to scream. But if I continue to practice in this area, it'll be much easier to pull this list up and practice it now. And I'm just going to make that promise to myself. Even though I don't feel like this is going to work, I am going to try one, or I'm going to try two of the practices on my list and see what happens. Most likely it's going to help you feel better. And so I've had other experts create tools such as this, and they call them Power List. I have mine in my program, which is called Power Pages. And these are a list of power tools, powerful tools that will help you make good choices, bring you back into regulation, and help you feel better. So again, let me put the chart up here so you can see it. And I have a little note down here that says the greater the perceived threat, the more primitive the response. And now that's an important note. It said the perceived threat. And so our perception is everything. And so what you perceive as a threat may be different than what I perceive as a threat. What's important to know is how are you responding to it and where are you on this continuum? And our goal is to get back here. And so again, we're going to make a list of resources to bring you back to your abstract thinking, to your most relaxed, most regulated state of mind. So I hope that this helps you understand how your brain works and why you might be thinking or behaving in certain ways. Or if someone in your life might need this information, please share it with them. So have a wonderful day and be well.